Welcome to Post Fight with Ray Thompson. This show is powered by MMA Crypt and MMA Mental. For more interviews and podcasts, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, MMA Crypt and MMA Mental. You can also follow MMA Crypt on Facebook and Twitter. It's at MMA Crypt on Twitter and MMA Crypt on Facebook. To follow me, it's at MMA Mental on Twitter and Ray Thompson on Facebook. I am now joined by Eddie Gordon, who is coming on after winning the Ultimate Fighter Season 19 at middleweight. Eddie, thank you very much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Congratulations on an excellent showing and winning what was a very tough season of the Ultimate Fighter.
Oh, thank you, man. It was definitely a tough season, like you said. A lot of high quality guys fighting, and that was a tough fight. I knew it was going to be a battle between Diego Lima because he's an all-around, well-rounded guy. So I was very happy with the outcome.
Yeah, we'll certainly get onto that. It was a tough season as well. I mean, obviously being over from the UK and being close to Ireland, we were watching very closely as well with the Cage Warriors champion. But of course, we'll get onto that as well. So first of all, I want to ask you, what was it like to be part of the Ultimate Fighter?
Oh man, it was amazing to be a part of the Ultimate Fighter, especially to see the finale. Fighting, before, two legends, BJ Penn, Frankie Edgar, and being a part of International Fight Week was just an experience that was overwhelming. And, I was very happy to be a part of the first UFC back-to-back event. That was just monumental, and I don't think it's something that could ever be duplicated.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic week and two fantastic events as well. Now, going into the season, obviously, you knew you were going to be coached by either Frankie Edgar or BJ Penn. Did you have a preference?
As far as the coaches, BJ Penn, I knew was going to be a great coach if I would have got picked by him because he's a legend in the sport. But I feel like it was a good fit, to be with Frankie because we're from the East Coast together. We share a lineage to the Gracies, so it kind of worked out, amazing.
Now, moving on to the matches then. I mean, in the quarterfinals, you faced Mike King. Now, Dana White was quite critical of the quarterfinal fights. How did you feel about your performance against Mike King?
Oh, I think it was definitely a tough fight. I feel like Mike King was one of the bigger 85-pounders, and he was definitely a game opponent. He was undefeated going into the house. I felt like Dana White. He touched on it. You never want to leave it in the hands of the judges, and I feel like it helped me grow as a fighter because I agree with him. I had some opportunities in the third round to probably finish the fight, but when all that pressure is on you and you want to make sure that you get to the finals, I think I might have played it too conservative. So I definitely agree with him. He's definitely a good motivator. So after the show airs and you see everything, his feedback on it, you take that and you put it into perspective and just make you a better fighter all around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen Dana White, basically has the power to make or break careers. So if he's speaking, you do definitely tend to listen. Now, in the semi-finals, you faced Cathal Pendred. Now, there was a lot of hype There was a lot of hype around Pendred going into the show. Especially with him being the Cage Warriors champion. Were you aware of the hype?
Going into the house, everybody was kind of talking about him. He was probably one of the favorites in the show just because he fought high-level guys. He fought really good competition, and he beat guys like Shay Mills, who was already in the UFC and one of the top strikers, in the sport. So there was a lot of hype around him. But the good thing about MMA is, you're able to go in and you just be able to fight anybody, And you got to truly believe in yourself. No matter what anybody thinks about you, if you're going to win or lose, you have to believe in your abilities. And I think it made for a good fight.
Now, Team Edgar swept the whole show. Team Edgar had 4 finalists. Were you surprised by that?
It's a numbers game, and when it's like so evenly matched, it was kind of surprising, but day in and day out, I saw how hard we all worked, especially the guys that lost early. They didn't just pack their bags. They came to the gym every day, and they helped us, the guys that were in the tournament, train hard and get better. So it was just monumental, it was a complete team effort. The guys that were not in the tournament helped us guys, succeed. So it was huge.
Now, reflecting a little bit back on your time in the house, overall, would you say it was a good experience or a bad experience?
It was definitely a great experience, man. Being around, 16 other fighters who are just as serious as you, being around top world-class trainers, and, pretty much being able to focus and get away from everyday life, it was like a gift and a curse. That part was a little bit tough, especially for the guys with families, not being able to see your girlfriend, your wife, your kids. That, that's like mentally draining, but the sacrifices you make then, builds a future for your family now. So it was all worth it. The only thing I probably would change if I could, I would probably end up fighting a weight class above, just because to me making weight, 3-4 times in a short period of time was just draining on my body, and I put a lot of extra stress on my body than was necessary.
Yeah, I'll pick up on that in a little bit, because that's something else I wanted to speak to you was about your weight class as well, because we do see a lot of guys go in at a higher weight class. Now, again, just reflecting back, who in the house out of all the guys annoyed you the most?
I wouldn't say who annoyed me the most. Let's see. When you're in a house full of guys, man, a lot of testosterone kind of flows around. But I would probably say, if I had to pick one person, it was probably Roger Zapata. He was very outspoken, and he didn't pull any punches. He kind of spoke how he felt. Sometimes I didn't agree with him. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But, after, some guys lost and you were able to talk to the other team, it kind of quieted down all the tension. And he ended up turning out to be a nice guy. But he definitely rubbed me the wrong way initially.
And which fighters would you say that you got on the best with?
Believe it or not, man, there's a couple. Obviously, everybody on my team I got along with, great. But Diego Lima was probably, my closest friend on the show because we were roommates. As well as Matt Van Buren, a.k.a. Gutter. We got along great. We spent a lot of time together, not just in practice, but in the house, being roommates. We always spoke about our goals, talked about our family. I got to know them a lot better. So without a doubt, they were probably the closest, to a true brotherhood that I had on the show.
Taking that into consideration, then, how hard was it for you to get in there to face Diego Lima?
Oh, man, it was tough, man. It was definitely tough because, I know one of our dreams were going to be shattered that night, and you hate to be the guy that shatters, a good friend's dreams, but in that same aspect, you're fighting for your family's life and your own, well-being. And we kind of prepared ourselves for it because every night, every day, we used to always talk saying, listen, we're going to be the finalists. We're going to fight each other. That's our goal. We're going to go in out there and put on a great show, once we get there. So, just talking about it kind of made it a little bit easier because we both knew, the sacrifices we'll have to make for our family. And after the fight, we still got along. We still have a great friendship, and that's what's most important. It's a sport. So sometimes you have to, do things that you don't want to do to further your career.
Absolutely, that's a great attitude to have. Now, what were your views on Diego Lima going into the fight as a fighter?
Oh man, I knew because training with the guy for 6 weeks. I definitely knew that he was very, very well rounded. I knew that he had a really good stand-up game, and he had a very good ground game as well. I knew I was aware that his weakest point would probably be his wrestling, because I have more of a wrestling base, and I felt like that was the area I could definitely take advantage of. In that same aspect, believe it or not, I felt like we matched up very, very evenly in the speed category, but I felt like I had a huge advantage in the power and explosiveness. So I just wanted to keep the pressure on him, stay in his face, so he can't really get off leg kicks without the threat of me taking him down, getting him on his back, and just kind of be relentless with the pressure, and eventually land a couple shots to finish the fight.
Now, you did finish him very quickly. Talk us through the end, and how pleased were you with your performance?
I was very pleased with the performance, because I felt like all my hard work and all my my training with my coaching staff came to fruition. I followed the game plan to a T. But with that same view, there's always room for improvement. You got to take the good with the bad. After watching the fight, I watched it 2 times. I pick up on, here and there things that I could have done better and just, finish the fight a little bit sooner or something. But you always want to, focus on the positives. But in that same aspect, you want to take, some room that you could improve in your game. So every single fight you advance to be a better fighter.
Now, we talked a little bit about this earlier on in the interview, but in previous seasons, we've seen Ultimate Fighter winners. We've seen them drop down in weight class. Now, is middleweight your natural weight class? Will you be dropping down, or will you be staying at middleweight?
I'll be staying at middleweight. I feel like it's a very comfortable weight for me. In the future, if the opportunity plays out and I have to go down to 170, I feel like I can make it. It's going to take a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrifice. But if the right opportunity, places itself, then I'll definitely be there. I could always obviously go up into 205. I'm a little bit vertically challenged, so those guys are a lot taller, but, I spar and train with a lot of tall guys, so I don't feel like that would be too much of a disadvantage to me. But I'm just going to play it by ear and stick to 185 and kind of, see what opportunities opens up in the future.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing who you face next. Have you got any ideas on who you'd like to face next?
I just want to thank, my friends, my family, my training partners over at the Cerro Longo fight team, and my sponsors who, been with me from thick and thin, and they kind of helped me get, through camp. As a fighter, you need a lot of, it's not just all about yourself, it's about the people you surround yourself. So New Resource Funding, they've been, paramount to my success. East Coast MMA, Evil's Dungeon, a power company, they definitely, stepped up and helped me a lot. And in Gamma Lab, has been with me, from the start. Porn Right, and just most importantly, my friends and family, and definitely the fans. This sport is truly, truly about the fans. Without the fans supporting us and cheering and booing and just giving their input, we as fighters would not be as successful. And that's just truly, truly a big thank you to the fans, because this sport is such a great sport because not only the fighters, but the fans themselves.
Well, I really appreciate you giving me your time today, Eddie, and I can't wait to see you step back into that cage again.
Thank you. You and me both.